We've got people here to show you those. Now I've got another one here, which is titled A Few Minutes to Go.
Left or right, that's where we're walking. Spartan bar is behind you there and well recommended. Right, item next.
Opportunity. And the 4 prints we have here for auction. Plus. Great display for you this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. There's some wonderful.
Take a look at these wonderful things you could go away with truly unique
freedom to walk across the car park, and you've come in here hundreds to support us. That we really, really do appreciate. As I say, we go to the BBC, we went to the BBC last year, Brendan Colchester I think it was, and we handed over a nice little check. And I think over the years of running it, we came 19 years last year, 20 years this year, it's about 145,000 for children in need. So please give generously. It would be nice to make this a special year being our 20th anniversary and the appearance of the Vulcan bomber. We have three bombers here today, or 3 4-engine aircraft, thus being the...
HOWE photography.com. That's terryhowephotography.com, and all the details are on there.
All the details are on there, and there will be details about an up-and-coming website.
Obviously, as you said, this is available from Amazon.
It's available direct from the publisher home. It's also available from Amazon. Pictures in it. I think it will be intrinsically valuable for a long time.
Fantastic kit, and it comes complete with the print of the front cover, as you said, which indeed is signed as well by the team. So,
yeah, one would look nice on the wall if you want to put it in the loo or something. And the book, obviously, I would suggest it.
Auction at those bids. So, if you were successful with those bids, as the pony comes over the top with the banner in tow, ladies and gentlemen, Queen's Diamond Jubilee. Thanks for your support, Little Gransden. 20 years of raising money for children in need.
Good start.
Mark it.
Two German brothers, you don't need me to tell you, were inspired by Reginald Joseph Mitchell, the man who designed the Spitfire. Fully inverted fuel system, meaning that the aeroplane can stay upside down for probably a lot longer than the pilot can. So looping round. Peter Wells looping around Guy. Guy gets the most interesting aspect. Cameras ready. Pitching upwards. To a quarter clover as the blue sky gives him a fabulous backdrop. liaison, army observation. And one of them folks, as Peter Holloway gets away in the source on absolutely nothing. The saluted lady taken from us far, far before she should have been. Ladies and gentlemen, I want a rousing round of applause to the late, great Tracy Martin. Tracy, we love you. And it's 2 litters, or as we Brits would call them, stretchers, used the Bell 47 for casualty evacuation back to the lines where Trapper John and his friends could organise their recovery. And it's in the honour of the MASH programme and the television series, the film and the television series, that this aeroplane is registered, GMASH. All the way from Red Hill in Surrey. Of the spotter line. These were post-war artillery. Justin has been You can see the bulbous cockpit allowing him fabulous view down. Erwin Rommel, the Desert Fox, prized his Fiesler Storch as the best thing for getting him around the battlefields. Look at that, cross controls beautifully flown. Peter loves this aeroplane. First flew up a Fiesler Storch to get him. There was nowhere it could be put down, except perhaps what was left of the tennis court. Well, they managed it. Down went the Storch, absorbing all the impact on those incredible legs. In went Il Duce, and out they went. And the fascist regime in Italy continued for a little while longer. Another famous flight was in the very last days of World War II. April the 26th, 1945, and the test pilot aviatrix Hannah Reich flew on into the middle of Berlin in a futile attempt to join Herr Führer.
At this moment in time. Look at that. Completely on the edge. Beautiful vertical rolls there. And that's looking like a beautiful torque roll where he's just hanging there on his propeller. With a tail slide backwards. Into a knife edge spin. Ladies and gentlemen, there are no qualifications needed for this. If you want to go and do that, all you've got to do is go and get your private pilot's license. Fly for a few hours, a little bit of practice, Mark will hire you the airplane, and away you go. There we go, give him a big wide, well done, Mark. So, Ken, thank you very much for that. I'll hand you back over.
Little over than John. The Chipmunk, a legendary trainer designed by de Havilland, Canada. Sister company, first of all in 1949, and in service for an exceptional period.
You left and right, so Ken.
Of course I do. There's no need to emphasise it that much. If I had my solicitor here...
He'd be left beside you. From the right, Ken.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the right, and that one's from the right as well, and the other one's quite high. With the Royal Air Force on Chipmunks and ended up on Shackletons and Nimrods. Ladies and gentlemen, the Radio Revelations Fennec. Nice top view, and a waggle of the wings from Martin. Two like gentlemanly pilots. In Essex. He's also, when he's not flying a P40, got a P51 Mustang called Jumping Jacks and a Spitfire PR11. All the choices of which one to get into today. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Teichmann, the P40. BAE Systems Heritage Flight Anson. Well, before you come and get me, more technically, the Avro 19, the post-war civilian development of the Anson. Based at Old Warden. Were very, very taken with the capabilities of the 2012. Bond, John Bond. Mr. Blue one. as you will see shortly once we've got some traffic into the air. Ladies and gentlemen, a pair of steermans and a pair of Spartan executives. I'm not going to call these the Pratts, although they do have Pratt & Whitney written all over them. As you can see from the one in the lead, the shiny one, the much polished creature. Part 2 of the Pratts. No, it's nothing steady. Part 2 of the boys with the big round engines. That, before we get into Clive's dexterity. Thought he'd cut down on smoking. Building up the energy.
Now she don't like it.
Now she's looking at the small print of the contract.
You said you wouldn't go upside down.
You said you wouldn't do turns like that. And if you listen to the radio, Dave Poyle has broken in and asked her to count the cars. Come on, give her a wave. She's doing remarkably well.
She's trying to get off.
What I can't get, John, is the calf is actually up there. If you look closely, She's reading 50 kinds of green on her Kindle.
At least you can't hear her.
Come on folks, keep waving, she'll wave back.
Look, we're landing. Hello.
Jamaica? I certainly had to.
Easy.
Please go to control. We need you now. Paul forward to control to the white caravan. Paul forward. But the film never happened. Charles was tragically killed whilst flying for another film in Ireland, and the B-2 replica gravitated to the United States, to old Rhinebeck. The direct Royal Air Force entrant at 18, started on King Airs, and then flew Globemasters with 99 Squadron. He's also done a spell in Afghanistan with the countermeasures version of the King Air, the Shadow R1. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Perkins. Right, the flying circus gets up. I'm joined by my good friend John Swain from Showcom. He and Trevor have been keeping the woofers and the tweeters going all day. Brilliant sound system, Mr. Swain.
To try and score a goal here.
Oh, just over the bar! Oh, sorry, I thought you were offering me something. I was going to say Quality Street.
Easy, Tiger.
Over the bar!
Oh dear.
There's the emerald.
This is different. No,
I don't think so. I think practice is possibly over. Oh, there's a lot of balloons going up, John.
Oh no, it's a bit of clean air there going through. Comes Prince Charles. Come on, Trish.
You can do this.
There. Oh, well done. Oh,
What do they make these balloons out of?
now look, there's three could get got at once there. Or not.
It's very maneuverable.
Or not. Oh no! They've just done Mickey Mouse. Come on. Up. Somebody spot the other Mickey Mouse, Dennis. Right, here we go. First cut.
He's always the deepest.
I knew we were going to say that.
From the right, the Miles duo. Get your cameras ready.
Is probably the most knowledgeable historian in terms of aviation that I know, and I've had the pleasure of working with him for many, many years, but particularly the last 18 years at Little Gransden.
Beautiful aeroplanes, beautifully flown. Gentlemen, from your right, our Yak duo. Show our appreciation. Excellent. Much missed the P-51 big beautiful goal. That is exactly how to make a large, powerful machine to lyrical performance. Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Davis and the Yak C11.
just